Excel. It's not financial advice. Yeah, let's get it. Good day, good morning, good evening to you. Stay up. Let's get it. All right, guys. So, hello, everybody. This is Crypto Excel. As I bring you more information on the markets and on this crypto trading adventure that we are currently on. So, Bitcoin has broken out of the ascending triangle, and it's been quite a few days that we've retraced and we've come down to approximately 61,500, and we've been wicking from that point. Um, Now, with ascending triangles, we normally break to the upside. This time we broke to the downside, and you could attribute that to news events, or you could just follow the charts. It's probably better to just follow the charts. But if you want to attribute it to news events because there is a correlation between the timing of these events and the steepness of the movements that we've been making, the conflicts that we have in the Middle East. This is not a political channel. I want to keep this strictly to the markets. And you should know why. But anyway, continuing with what my analysis here, we've broken down, and if you were to take from the opening of the triangle the length of that line to where we've broken down from, there is a possibility of us retracing to the downside all the way down to around 50K. I don't know if it's going to happen. I have no idea. Markets are unpredictable, but it is a possibility. And if that were to happen, the altcoins will get completely destroyed. So if you look at the altcoins now, the altcoins are not doing too well. Let's look at Uniswap. Has a 40% discount on Uniswap, and this is on the monthly. So in the monthly crypto bubbles, Uniswap's down 40%. Say is down a whopping 45%. Gala is down 31%. Matic's down 33%. Pepe's down 31%. So ADA is down 30%. Bonk down 43%. There are a few green cryptos here, but they are the outliers. So what this means, look at Optimism down 36%. What this means, right, is that altcoins are already at a tremendous discount. Render's down 20%. Wilder World's down 43%. Um, Cryptos are already at a tremendous discount. And if we were to go down all the way to around the $50,000 area in Bitcoin, um, these coins will get completely devastated, right? So there's two ways to look at this. One way is, does this mean that the cycle is over and that we missed this run and it's no longer good and um, everything is different now? Um, no, I don't think that is correct. I think that we're still following the 4-year cycle, because if you are to zoom out and you look in the monthly, we are about 1 week away from the halving. And close to the halving, there's usually a huge retracement, approximately 30%, right? So this pullback or a pullback around this time period is actually normal, right? So that pullback, again, will completely destroy the altcoins. So we're talking about maybe another 50% down in altcoins. And, these are possibilities. Um, but you see what happens a few months after the halving is a parabolic pump, right? So basically, what I'm saying is that chart wise, what's happening chart wise is consistent with the 4 year cycle and the 4 year cycle pattern. All right. So I said that Bitcoin could go down towards 50K. I didn't say Bitcoin will go down towards 50K because nobody knows, no one can guarantee you any direction in it and exactly what price point. I'm saying it is possible. And I'm also saying if that were to happen, that the altcoins would get completely destroyed. Um, but I would continue to use the 4 year cycle as a reference map and as guidance. So if I do see continued retracement, I will also consider that a buying opportunity. Even though it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good. And I definitely don't like to open my portfolio and to see complete carnage and complete wreckage, right? Especially when you've been used to getting gains since forever. I mean, an entire year of just straight going up. And so a retracement at this point feels like exponentially worse, right? Because we're just used to seeing green candles, right? But the important thing for me to do is to not react emotionally, is to zoom out and to see that this is actually a buying opportunity and to accumulate as we go lower, should we continue to go lower, right? Because there's always a possibility of the situation worsening or a black swan event happening that will just completely wash a lot of people out of the market by having a nice huge candle going down and the altcoins completely getting wrecked. Um, Having cash on the side at that point to pick up a few coins will be pivotal in your crypto success journey, right? I always recommend having some cash on the side. Originally, I said around 25% of the portfolio, not financial advice, just in case we do get these surprising red candles to the downside, that you're able to double, triple, and quadruple your portfolio. Because I still do think that this parabolic blow off top is coming, and I still think that's to happen in the future, right? And the more we retrace in the short term, is the more likely it makes it that we have a cycle that has a normal length, meaning that it continues in Q4 of 2025, right? So the more the cycle acts like how the cycle acts in the past, or the more the cycle mimics the cycle of the past, is the more likely that we have the continued 4 year cycle that concludes in Q4 of 2025. Okay, so again, just being able to zoom out and to have a plan and to react non emotionally in handling your portfolio is a good thing, right? Because we only lose in the market when we react emotionally. So there's a post here from Rect Capital, and it's talking about there is always a pre-halving retrace, and this has been the case across the Bitcoin cycles. This time is no different. Okay, so this is a pre-halving retrace, right? So basically, it's the same as what's always happened. If you look at the last cycle, we had the same thing, and here we're down 20%. And this is actually a little bit after the halving, but it's close to the halving. And you retrace 20%, and that's before the pump and the parabolic leg up. So after the retrace, there's an accumulation period, which is represented by this red box. So we retrace here, and then there's an accumulation period in this red box. And then and after this accumulation, that's when things start to go back up and they start to go up parabolic, right? So whereas if we didn't have the retrace, the amount of multiples you'll be able to get from your crypto are not the same amount as you will be able to get from the retrace. right? So that's the difference between getting maybe an 8x on a crypto versus a 20x on a crypto. So you can use a retrace to your advantage if you're non emotional about the retrace. If you use that time period to accumulate the best projects at a huge discount. Now, if you are emotional about the retrace and you sell in the middle of the retrace or at the bottom of the retrace, then that's how you lose a crypto. And that's what 90% of the people in crypto do. They sell at the wrong times and then they buy at the wrong times. So as we continue to go down, the reason we're going down is because people are selling. So they're going to continue to sell on the way down. And when we bottom out is when you have the most people selling and they all sell at the same time. Okay, so like let's say hypothetically a black swan event happens, a building explodes or something that they didn't expect to happen happens. There's panic ensuing in the market, and everyone's scared, and they see crypto going down. So they say, I'm going to sell now because I don't want to keep on going down. So everyone sells at the same time, and then you get this huge red candle pushing towards 50,000, and everyone gets out, right? As we saw here back in COVID. You see this huge red candle? Everyone's selling because it's the end of the world and nothing's ever going to be the same. So let's just get out. This is useless. This is garbage. I don't like how this feels. Let's quit. This huge red candle right here. This is why 90% of the people lose in crypto because everyone sells at the same time. That same week, the same 3 days during the crisis, because it seems like it's never going to come back and it's just going to get worse. Everyone sells there. And they had great intentions here, really great intentions, but things didn't work out and they want to save some of the money. At least they'll save some and they're not totally out. So they all sold here. Now, the 10% that make all the money decides to buy here. They decide to buy here and they're going to be patient and they're going to wait. They don't know how long it's going to be, right? They actually know the 4 year cycle, so they have an idea that it's probably going to be Q4 of 2021. So they probably had some inkling, but they were willing to wait for a year or a year and a half. They're willing to do that. So 10% were buying here, and the 10% that were buying here made all the money going up here and also up here. Right here, Cardano was 2 cents. It was 2 cents. Up here, either here or here, I believe it was here. Cardano was $3.20. So they bought Cardano at 2 cents here and they sold it at $3.20 here. They sold it over here for about $2.15. And basically all throughout here, they were selling it here 2.15, 2.75, 2.45, $3. So this is how 10% make all of the money. Right here at the peaks, that's when the most people were the most confident in the market. They're confident because they saw the market going a lot higher than they thought it would have gone. Bitcoin was $3,002 at the lows here, and Bitcoin was $69,000 over here. It was $65,000 in the first peak and $69,000 at the second peak. So they most people joined the market because Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 65,000. So that's when everyone came in and they started buying here and they started buying here and they started buying here. The reason why 90% of people don't make money in the market is because they follow the herd. They follow what the market does. When everyone's buying, everyone else starts buying. When everyone's selling, everyone else starts selling. If we're about to see a huge red candle or a bigger red candle now, that means that most people will be selling now, right? If that were to happen, most people would be selling. In my opinion, or what I'm going to do, is that I'm going to plan to buy that. Should I see a capitulation candle come down, I'll be planning to buy that. I want to do the opposite of what the market is doing. That's my idea here. If you look at which coins you can buy, if you look at the RSI on coins, the coins with the lowest RSI are the ones most likely to rebound the strongest, right? If the RSI is still up, that means it hasn't hit its capitulation yet, right? So there are a lot of coins down here that are not Patreon gems. That's one thing that I've noticed, but can still garner good returns down at the bottom here if the RSI is really, really low, right? The ones with the RSI that are high up here, I would stay away from. And you can just do a quick, look and quick check. BNB is still relatively high. There are coins up here that I would never touch, like BNX, Pendle, BTC, DOM, ONG, SFP, CKB. VETS seems a little high. Super is a little bit high. So there might be more retracement here, right? Um, so yes, I would look at the RSI and I'd probably stay away from coins where the RSI is still pretty strong because that means they might have more correction coming. The fear and greed index is 61. So 61 means that we're about to come out of greed and we're about to go neutral. So there was a lot of greed. We were heating up. I think we were almost in the 90s before, and all of these different events has just pushed this fear and greed index back, and we're continuing to head towards the left. And what I say is really interesting is that you don't necessarily need to pay attention to the news as much. You can just watch the chart and you can tell when we're getting frothy, right? You can tell when the RSI is up here heading towards 80 that we might be getting a little bit frothy. But it's funny how the news follows the charts, right? It's kind of like the chart comes first and then the news starts to coincide with what the chart does. It's just really interesting. So, how much of our behavior is free will and how much of the behavior is predestined by a program that's already embedded inside of our DNA? It's just really interesting, right? As far as Patreon gems, remember I was talking about the coins that are the ones I'm willing to accumulate during this dip? Well, here you are. So if you look at the 24-hour, the coins that have the biggest retracements of the coins that will outperform this market. If you look at Solana is down 10%. On the weekly, it's down 23%. This is an extremely strong project, stronger than Ethereum, actually. And this is a L1. So I would definitely be paying attention to this. AGIX, you've always wanted to get into AGIX at a good discount because this is one of the leaders of the AI coins. Well, here's your discount. It's down 27% on the weekly. Manta Network is down 31% on the weekly. Track, Ordinal Trail, down 20% on the weekly. Pixel is down 38.5%. Pal AI, down a whopping 43.77%. Remember, guys, I said that it's possible that we head lower. You see how already these altcoins have been getting battered, right? Imagine we actually go lower. So the question is, should I just wait until we go lower and then start accumulating then? The problem with that thesis or way to operate is that you don't know how much lower you're going to go. You don't know if you're going to go lower. So my strategy would be to DCA on the way down because there's no way to tell where it's bottom until bottom already happened, right? So OXO is down 22%. Delysium, you finally get a discount and you get a whopping 37% discount. Nakamoto Games, that people have been waiting to buy because it's been too high, is down 23%. Myria is down a whopping 30%. No one was able to buy Myria because Myria has taken off, and that was one that has ran away from a lot of people. This project could garner really, really good gains in the bull market. It's similar to Gala Games with the nodes, and it's going to be a leader in gaming with some of the biggest brands that worked at former companies such as Marvel, such as Epic Games. They're basically connected and they have the inside track on AAA games. And once their games drop during the full bull cycle, I think we're going to see big things from Myria. So Myria, again, even at a $114 million market cap, is an underrated gem. And now there's a 31% discount on Myria. Solidus AI Tech is down 13%. Now, Solidus has performed quite well. It recently had highs of 50 cents. It's been retracing and it went down all the way to 19 cents. And this is one of the stronger altcoins. And I'm saying that after a 60% retracement, right? But what I've seen is that it's been holding the 19 cents kind of strong in a strong manner. So we don't know, again, we don't know how much lower these altcoins are going to go, right? I did tell you that it's possible for Bitcoin to head towards the 50K. And I said if Bitcoin did head towards the 50K, the altcoins will get obliterated. But I also put a caveat in there and I said that there's no guarantee that Bitcoin does that. I'm saying this is what could happen. So again, what normally happens, and this is why 90% of the people lose in crypto, is that we have a solid, we think linearly as human beings. We say that it's going to hit this price, and once it hits this price, I'm going to buy. So it's either yes or no. That's kind of like how we think. We don't think gradually and we don't think exponentially that well either, right? That's why when Bitcoin was at 15,500, most people said, I'm not going to buy. We're not going to buy anything. We're going to wait till Bitcoin hits 10K. Why 10K? Well, 10K is a nice, even, round number. We're comfortable with 10K and we're comfortable with buying more at 10K. 15,500 is not a nice, simple, even, round number. We once we see things heading down, we don't want to buy. Okay, because we're like, it's going to go lower. Let's wait until it goes lower. And then it does go lower. And then we say, well, it's going to go even lower. So why buy now? Because it's going to go, instead of 10K, it's going to go to 8K. I'm what's going to buy when it goes to 8K. So we're always going to feel that it's going to go lower once we see it heading down. And once it starts heading down, the last thing we want to do, because of our primitive minds and primitive instincts, is we don't buy red. Red is the color of blood. Blood represents death, right? If you think about it, when inside of your body, the color of your blood is blue. When the blood gets oxygenized and it hits oxygen, it turns red. And what does red signify? Red signifies danger, right? Stop signs are red. When you're driving and you go through a red light, what happens? You get into an accident because you're not supposed to be going through the red light. We are trained primitively from a primitive um, reptilian reptilian mind. Um, we are trained that red means danger, so we stay away from red. And there's good reason for this because, you know, historically, red is meant it's something bad's happening. Red is meant death. If you see a lot of red, if you show up as a human being to any site and you see other humans and there's a lot of red there, that means there's a lot of death, there's a lot of suffering. So we stay away from red. And that's the reason why we don't want to buy red. So you actually have to be, I could talk about green too, but again, with red, you actually have to program your mind you have to forcefully hit that buy button because you're not going to instinctively do it. We're not designed to do that. Now, if we talk about green, green represents what? It represents growth. The grass is green. Springtime, you see what? You see a lot of green leaves, green plants. Um, A lot of greenery. Places that you see that are green, it represents fertility, it represents life. That's why when things are green, we tend to go towards it. We like seeing green. So that's why a project could pump 200% and you still feel like buying it. And you're like, I don't want to miss out. Why don't you want to miss? I don't want to miss out on the harvest. This is bountiful. This is joyous. I like being where there's a lot of green. Green represents wealth, represents life, it represents springtime, it represents abundance. That's why we love green, right? We really, really do enjoy green. And coincidentally enough, they made the cash green too. That's why people, that's one of the reasons people like, holding cash. If you watch these people on the internet with the green next to their forehead. Um, but I digress. You have to program your mind. You have to use your conscious mind to take over what your primitive mind wants to do, right? So as things continue to head down, you have to get into the habit of seeing things the opposite when you're dealing with investing, right? And it's not an easy thing to do, but if you're conscious of it, then you stand more of a chance. And this is the reason why only 10% of the people make all the gains, because 10% of the people are able to see that it's better to buy in the red than in the green. Only 10% of the people are able to have the discipline to control their mind to think like that. And not only think like that, also to detach their emotions. That's number two. And to number three, be patient enough to wait until that red starts to turn back green, right? You have to be patient too. And to be patient takes discipline, right? You need to be disciplined to be patient, right? So I went through Nakamoto Games. I went through Maria, AI Tech, absolutely. Change GPT is down a whopping 30%. I mean, if you don't start accumulating now, guys, I don't think you will be accumulating. TET is down 20%. Mavia is down 40%, or 39.8%. So another way you can save yourself too, because it doesn't feel comfortable, is you only put in a small amount as we start to go down. Maybe you only put in 10% right now, right? As we start to go down, you just nibble a little bit so it doesn't feel as painful. But if you see a massive red candle come down, that's when you start putting more, 40%, 50%. We still going down 70%. Oh my gosh, I didn't know we'd go down as far, 80%, right? And there's also a second part to this. It has to be money that you don't need for the next year. Okay. If you're putting money in now where you're highly leveraged, where you've taken out a loan, you've taken out a second mortgage for it, or you're using grocery money, rent money, car note money, college tuition money, then crypto is probably not for you, unfortunately. Because no, this is a game of patience. The only way it works is if you're using money that you don't need, because that's the only way you could be unemotional. If you need this money to fund your lifestyle and you see it drop 70%, there's a very, very good chance you're going to end up touching that money. So that's why from the beginning, you have to make sure it's money that you don't need. Now, let me all let me premise everything I just said on the fact that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. It's just two friends talking to each other, and I'm just conveying my message to you. I think that I'm pretty much going to wrap everything up here. I will say, though, that should you want to know when I'm buying, what prices I'm buying at, what levels, what I think is going on in the market, and if you want to know directly before these videos come out, because these videos are not going to, the time of the Black Swan event, I might not be dropping a video right when it happens, okay? Because life is busy. I have many things to do. So eventually I will make a video, but now it's 3 days later. So if you want to know instantly, I would definitely look at the Patreon and become a member, right? So we can continue this journey together and you can see what I'm doing. That's all I have for you today. This is Crypto Excel, and I will see you